What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, I've got a team showcase for you today of a fun team that I was using in the Great League Remix. This is definitely one of those teams that I would say is more for the fun and not as much for climbing, as once in a while I want to, obviously just use some stuff that I haven't used very often and have some fun. So really incredible games though, really worth a watch. I promise you, you're going to have a good time watching these. We got triple shadow team with Gallade, Empoleon, and the Thunderfang Steelix that I've been using lately. Let's jump into the games here, and we get a first lead against something spicy, facing a very goated trainer, Valor Ash, very, very prominent name in the battling community, and I'm going to go for a bait here. Gallade it rips the early shields, and then you've got double steel in the back to be able to handle the flyers that Gallade hates so very much. Also, you know, dealing with things like, you know, it has very good play into the ghost types, most play into pretty much almost anything. Now, my opponent safe swaps in Shadow Zapdos, and I'm just going to fire off close combat, try and get a shield off him, but they don't. They don't shield it. Now, if I'm playing correctly, I probably just come in with the Shadow Steelix and I just fully farm down the Zapdos. But I was definitely thinking that I might pull a shield with that close combat. But we're going to get the Steelix in here, and it's just going to continue to work through the Torkoal. The thing with the Torkoal is that it only has nuke moves, and I'm able to get to a Psychic Fangs just before they finish this fire spin. So they're going to get taken out, no shield, and all they have left is the Magnezone. And even though this is not a good matchup for Empoleon, the opponent does decide to go ahead and surrender. Good game. Getting into the next battle, we got Shadow Gallade on the lead versus Ferrothorn. Tricky lead because you have to keep Gallade on here, and Gallade is very squishy. Everything that you do with Gallade basically requires you to shield it. So, my opponent does decide to go for the Mandibuzz, trying to catch a potential close combat. They're still going to catch the close combat, but with these hands attached. Now I'm going to be able to come in with my Steelix here, and I'm just going to Thunderfang down. Now here's why I love Thunderfang Steelix so much, is it has play against all the waters. It destroys the Mandibuzz, which is definitely not what the typical set on Steelix can do. And also, I think that you're going to see in a few battles here as well, Thunderfang Steelix can almost flip Annihilate. It's pretty disgusting. So I go for the Breaking Swipe here. Honestly, I'm hoping to get a debuff just to see if I can't, you know, take a Power Whip on my Gallade here. I'm going to go for double Breaking Swipes here, just because the Breaking Swipe does more overall damage than the Psychic Fangs. And because my opponent can swap out at any time here, it's better for me to go for what I know is guaranteed damage than to go for what isn't guaranteed damage. So the opponent goes for a move immediately. I get denied. Thank you, Niantic, for denying me my one-turn ability to go for anything, any moves at all. And Shadow Gligar now comes in, and this is very difficult because I'm down a shield, but my opponent is now also going to be at the same shield parity. Now, the thing that I have to do here is I basically have to try and call a bait. Are they going to go for the Aerial Ace? If they do, and I shield it anyway. I'm like, this feels like a bait. But here's the thing. If I can get this this Gligar down to a range where that Leaf Blade would knock out, this is fine. The shield was worth it then to me, because now I'm going to be able to go for the Leaf Blade here, take out the Gligar, and all I need to do at this point is get to the close combat. Now, what I do here specifically is I get to the close combat in 4 Psycho Cuts, which is less time than it takes for them to get through 3 Bullet Seeds. So even if they have Mirror Shot, now it guarantees that I get to that before the Mirror Shot, which is why I did the extra Psycho Cut. And we're able to take out the Ferrothorn. Good game. Get into the next battle here. We're going to have Gallade on the lead versus Annihilate. This is where I need to see the Annihilate, and it's a very good lead as well. The opponent immediately comes in with Empoleon, and I'm going to go for a Leaf Blade right off the rip here. Here's the thing, though. Shadow Steelix is going to be able to come in and deal with this, but I'm not going to be able to get to a move before they get to one. So unfortunately, they're going to go for a Hydro Cannon here, but because I have so much HP left on my Steelix, and because they're probably going to come in with the Annihilate, I'm going to shield here, because I'm going to be able to get to Psychic Fangs, and I'm going to force them to throw a Shadow Ball if they don't want me to get to another Psychic Fangs. So this is what I'm saying. Like, this matchup is really, really close. And I think it's the next game that's on this video as well, that you're going to see. So if basically what happens here is if they go for Night Slash, I live, and I get the Psychic Fangs off. They go for Night Slash, I don't live. I thought I was going to live, but now they have a boost on the Night Slash, which is like the one thing that keeps me from being able to win this game now. So let's see if we can make something happen here. Going to go for the Leaf Blade right away. if I can't land a second Leaf Blade, at the very least, these Psycho Cuts will leave the Annihilate low. Maybe the Steel Wings from the Empoleon will do enough damage to knock out here. So opponent does go for their Night Slash, hoping they don't boost again. I'm coming with Empoleon. The counters are going to do a ton of damage, and whatever's in the back, hopefully, it's weak to Empoleon. It's a Stinky Binky, and this is the best case scenario. I was thinking maybe it would be like a Gligar or something, to be honest. But Stinky Binky's getting farmed down from the Shadow Empoleon, taking victory from the jaws of defeat, and that's a good game. Next battle against my good buddy and friend Trainer Rem over on Twitch. Go check him out. He's an awesome streamer, very good battler, and we're catching a bad lead here. And we safe swap in the Shadow Steelix with Thunder Fangs, and they immediately counter swap and Annihilate and go for Night Slash, probably fishing for that boost. But this is what I'm saying, right? Like Psychic Fangs, if they don't shield this gets very close. If they do shield this, I mean, I still get to another Psychic Fangs, but look at this, watch this. We are actually this matchup is so close. Unfortunately, though, because of that Night Slash not getting shielded, now it's Simul KO, and we have to figure out. I'm either bringing in one or the other. It's a coin toss, and we get the Empoleon on a Shadow Magnezone. If I had brought in my Gallade here, I would have had a much better chance, because then my Empoleon would have been aligned to the Gallade, or not the Empoleon would have been aligned to the Mantine, and the Gallade would have been on the Shadow Magnezone. The opponent lets it go here, saving 2 shields for Mantine, and I'm immediately going to come in here with my Gallade here, and I'm just going to try and fire off as many Leaf Blades as I can. We have 2 shields. My hope here is that perhaps I'll be able to get a Leaf Blade, get it within Drill Peck range, and try to get to a Drill Peck on my Empoleon. That's pretty much my hope and a prayer at this point. But let's be honest though. The opponent has so much energy at this point. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to that, but we're gonna see. And also my switch timer, unfortunately, is nowhere close to being back up. So the opponent doesn't even have to throw here. They can simply farm, shield, and it's gonna be up to Empoleon now. But they have, I think, about 2 moves worth of energy. We're gonna go ahead and shield just in case there's a slight chance that maybe they're not. They go for a Water Pulse, and I'm thinking hopefully, but no, they have so much energy. They can fire off back-to-back moves, Water Pulse and an Aerial Ace. So good game to my buddy Trainer Rem here. Definitely think that might have gone a lot differently if I had not gotten that coin flip wrong, but it happens. It's all good. Next game into Salazzle. This is a very difficult lead for my backline, so I'm going to stay in because my Psycho Cuts do super effective damage, and Salazzle is made of literal paper. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and shield up a Poison Fang, and then I'm going to try to go for a Leaf. I was going to go for a Leaf Blade, but my opponent now swaps in their Shadow Steelix. So what I'm going to do here is go for the close combat, hopefully get a shield, and then pop in my Empoleon here, which I should easily be able to live any one move from this thing. And with good timing, I'm going to make sure that I throw this Hydro Cannon here before they get to what could be a crunch. Gonna one-shot this whole Steelix. Boom! And the opponent's going to come in with their Salazzle. Now, it's worth noting here that Salazzle has Poison Fang, and that's always 2 Incinerates. That was only 2 Incinerates from their last move, so I'm going to go for 1 Steel Wing and then throw my move just to make sure that the damage doesn't register on the second one and I lose the energy entirely. And now they have a Mantine in the back. Thunderfang Steelix is licking its chops in the back, saying, guess what, buddy? It's time. I'm coming out, and you're not going to like it. I immediately, I was going to say I'm immediately going to go into it, but I think what we do here is we just come in with the Steelix. Doesn't matter what they throw. I get the 1-turn bring in leg, and I get denied a move. Of course, it's always the way it is, you know, with this stupid game, and the opponent decides to concede, so good game to them. Getting into the next game here, we got Gallade against Empoleon. We outpaced the Empoleon here, but this is a very tricky matchup. I try to switch immediately into Steelix as I've been trying to figure out the best way to play the Empoleon leads with this team. And this time I tried to go ahead and just see if I could throw Steelix out there and see what we can make happen. But opponent comes in with a Munchlax, which is definitely a matchup that we can take advantage of here in some form or fashion. I'm going to go for the Breaking Swipe here to try and fish for a debuff, because if I can get their Bulldoze to not KO me, that would be great. We're able to get to a second Breaking Swipe, and again, I'm going for Breaking Swipe here because, like, Thunderfang isn't, like, the Psychic Fang's Thunderfang thing is not really gonna do a huge amount of difference for me here. I'd rather go for potential debuffs because this opponent has the ability to do super effective damage with that Bulldoze, just like that. Now, Bulldoze is a pretty bad move overall, but I'm gonna go for Psychic Fangs here and see if I can't get a shield or force switch advantage. It doesn't really make as much of a difference to me here, but we go for the Psychic Fangs because I want to set up a farm down for Gallade. We got the attack drop. I'm going to no-shield Gallade. It is a body slam. It'll hurt, but it's not going to be too bad. And then the opponent's going to immediately swap into their Gligar, and I'm going to go for Leaf Blade, and what I need to do here is now come in with my Empoleon because my Gallade is getting pretty low. Now, the opponent doesn't bother shielding, so this is getting very risky here, and this is the game where I decide this is a bait, I win. If it's a dig, I lose. And we go and we call the Aerial Ace. The opponent now in shambles, as we're going to be able to get this Hydro Cannon off before the opponent's going to be able to get to that dig, throwing right before they get there, and Hydro Cannon's going to knock out. And then we're going to have the opponent's Empoleon come in, and we are so far ahead on energy. Remember, they threw the Hydro Cannon and dipped out right away. So we're going to be able to get to 2 Hydro Cannons. I just have to make sure that they don't attempt to catch a move here, and they're going to go for their move as well, try to force that shield. Remember, they have that Munchlax, low HP in the back, and so this is going to be tricky. They go for the Drill Peck. I'm not really sure why. And we both swap and catch at the same time. I'm going to farm down the Munchlax with my Gallade, and we're going to be able to get to the Leaf Blade here in the nick of time. Now, we both had a move loaded on Empoleon, so it would have been a charge attack priority depending on who had higher attack. But thankfully, Gallade comes in clutch, and that's a good game. Getting into the next battle here, we got Gallade on the lead versus a Shadow Steelix. This is a very tricky matchup, again, because I don't have any good, like, safe swap here, right? If I throw my Empoleon, there's a chance it gets hard countered. My opponent going immediately for a move here. It could be Breaking Swipe, could be Psychic Fangs. It is the Psychic Fangs. I'm going to go for the Leaf Blade here. I'm going to make them think that I'm going to go for a close combat. Hopefully they shield, and they do. And now, because I threw the Leaf Blade, I'm only 1 away from the close combat. We can let the close combat rip, and are we getting 2 shields here? Yeah, we're getting 2 shields. So I'm going to pop in with my Thunderfang Steelix, and the opponent now comes in with Scrafty. And I'm like, of all the things that I could have just had come in onto me, it's a power-up punch Scrafty. Like, this could not have gone any worse. So what I need to do here is I'm just going to go for Breaking Swipe. Psychic Fangs is not going to do any meaningful damage. And, I mean, yeah, we could lower their defense, but, I mean, really, like maybe 1 extra damage per Thunderfangs is not going to flip this in really any meaningful way. I would rather do the actual neutral damage of the Breaking Swipes here to get it low. Now, I'm going to come in with my Gallade here, and I need to soak a move. And I know that it sucks to soak a move, but if they have Steelix, I'm going to have to put up I'm going to have to put up my Empoleon and be hopeful that it can handle whatever's in the back. Now, just like we did earlier with the Annihilate, they have Pup Boost, but we're going to go through it with the Empoleon, and the opponent comes in with the Steelix and throws Psychic Fangs. This makes sense because this is the last Pokemon I have alive. So we're going to be able to go for Hydro Cannon here on good timing, as just before they would get to another move. And this is going to knock out. This will knock out. We saw it already. Boom! And the opponent has the Ninetales in the back and 3 Steel Wings, and hopefully this Hydro Cannon KOs. It's Shadow on Shadow. That's enough, and that's going to be a good game. Boom! Getting into the next battle here, we got the Shadow Gallade on the lead versus a Unova Stunfisk. Very good lead here as we do get to the Leaf Blades and outpace, but the problem here is going to be the backline. If my opponent gets to... man, they did that so well. I tried to go for the charge attack priority here on the first move, but they caught it on the Mandibuzz. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to load up on a bunch of energy. I know that I can go for 6 Psycho Cuts before they get to a move, because that would be the equivalent in turns of 4 Snarls. And now I'm going to come in with my Thunderfang Steelix, and we're going to start going to work here. Thunderfang Steelix absolutely putting in work here against Mandibuzz. That super effective Thunderfang damage is just really a really clutch thing to have here. But because we gave them such a huge energy lead, the Dark Pulses are going to come close enough to knocking out here, so I have to be careful. Thunderfangs here is going to get this thing pretty low, but the opponent going to get to a move right before, and I'm like, this feels like an Aerial Ace, so I'm going to let this go. But it was a Dark Pulse, so I'm going to come back in with Gallade since the opponent will not be able to get to another move before I can Psycho Cut down. And then I'm going to wait and see what they come in with. It could be the Unovan Stunfisk, or it could be another flyer. It's Mantine! Of course it's Mantine! So, I mean, this is a very strong team. Unovan Stunfisk double flyer. I think this was even in my suggested teams video back in the beginning of the format. So, we can now go and get a bunch of Leaf Blade damage off against this Mantine. And we leave 2 shields now for the Empoleon. We just need to land a Hydro Cannon on this Unovan Stunfisk. Now, unfortunately for us, this is going to be hard because they actually no-shielded that other Leaf Blade. So, Mud Bomb is going to do a lot of damage. Now it's going to come down to whether or not Empoleon can live these Thunder Shocks and get to another move. It's going to be very close. Opponent gets the final shield taken, and they actually throw. That's actually massive, because what this is going to allow us to do now is overfarm some more and get to another Leaf Blade, and hopefully a second Leaf Blade. I've got 2 shields, and these fast moves have absolutely no pressure on my Gallade right now, so I can put 1 or 2 shields down to get to 2 Leaf Blades. I'm going to throw it the back-to-back here, because if I need to farm down after this hits, I'm good. We're going to find out how much damage this Leaf Blade does, and it does enough. We can go immediately for the next Leaf Blade here. Opponent does not have any shields remaining, and that's going to be a good game here. Shadow Gallade absolutely sweeping the end game. Getting into the next battle, Gallade on the lead versus a Mantine. This is terrible, and we're going to go straight into the Thunderfang Steelix to start getting that to work now. It's going to come down to whatever the opponent has in the back. The opponent is staying in here, and we're going to go for a Breaking Swipe. I was going to go for some chip damage here, but again, you know, if they come in with Gligar, they're already resisting the damage, so if I can just Breaking Swipe here and perhaps set up maybe Empoleon for a farm or get this Gligar fairly low, then we're doing okay. Dig is going to do way more damage than I wanted it to. But so I'm going to go for Psychic Fangs here in hopes to set up a farm down for something. I'm thinking about coming in with my Empoleon here. The opponent is ABA weak to Empoleon, so at this point, I'll just shield up 1 move, as this could be a dig. And then I'm just going to go ahead and let Empoleon do its thing. And let, hopefully, Gallade in the back is going to be okay with whatever third Pokemon they have, and it's an Annihilate. So here comes Annihilate. This is going to be a tricky end game here as we're down a shield, but this is going to get a shield off the opponent. Gallade can come in and start getting ahead on energy, but remember, this Mantine is within range because of all that damage that it took. It is within range of being taken out. Now, my opponent, if they shield this, I have a chance to win this game. If my opponent lets this go and saves a shield for their Annihilate, which they do, unfortunately, I have no win condition here because I can't get to 2 Drill Pecks in time, so this is going to be a good game. Well played to the opponent. Getting into the next game, we've got Gallade versus Dedenne on the opponent's side, and we're staying in, as are they. I'm going to go for Leaf Blade on charge attack priority here, as I have Empoleon in the back. I need to play this out, at least to some degree, before swapping out, because Thunderfang Steelix is fine here, but Empoleon absolutely gets shredded when it comes to the pacing and damage of this Dedenne. So I'm going to continue to go for moves on charge attack priority, and what I'm going to look to do is try to catch the 3rd move on my Steelix and see if we can make that happen. The opponent actually letting that go. So again, we're going to farm up again onto Gallade, going down a shield here. Not the worst thing in the world, because if we can get the energy on Gallade, and then I'm going to look to swap and catch this move here on my Steelix. The opponent having 1 shield remaining meant that they could, if they wanted to, they could guarantee that move went off. So now here comes Poliwrath, and you guys are going to see why this is such a dangerous safe swap here. Thunderfang Steelix is going to get a shield here or do super effective damage, and those Thunderfangs do add up. This is the situation where I want to be using Psychic Fangs. Look, we almost outpaced them in damage with that move. They have to go for energy. It's an Icy Wind. That's going to leave them very low, and they threw just now, which means Gallade can fully farm down without being forced to eat a move here. So Gallade is going to get the full farm down. What is the opponent going to have in the back? Because they're not going to bring in the low health Dedenne with no energy. They have in the back, it is a Jellicent. I just have to make sure that they don't catch a move. We have an Empoleon in the back as well if needed, but 3 Leaf Blades is going to be enough. I'm just being very cautious here, making sure that I wait to see them using their hexes before I go for a charge move here. As soon as I see the Jellicent twirling in the air for its move animation, I'm throwing the Leaf Blade, and in comes Dedenne. Empoleon in the back, cheering on Gallade. Moral support. Good game. All right, getting into the next battle. We got a pretty bad lead here against Mandibuzz. I'm going to come immediately in with my Steelix here and look to see if we can't make something happen. Opponent staying in here thinking that they have a good matchup, when in reality, they actually don't, because Thunderfang flips this harder than using Dragon Tail. So I remember back in the day when Breaking Swipe was the move on Steelix, and that was, I mean, hot take, I actually preferred it when Breaking Swipe was 100% debuff instead of this 50%, you know, debuff BS that we have now, because at least you knew what was going to happen, and it made Steelix one of those Pokemon that, yes, it was obnoxious to deal with because of that debuffing move, but it made it so that it was able to flip, you know, bad RPS situations if you knew how to play the matchup correctly. So, I mean, I'm sure someone will disagree in saying that Breaking Swipe Steelix was obnoxious, and they're not wrong, but I certainly preferred when breaking swipe was 100%. But anyway, we just ate an Earthquake. This is the trainer that I was talking about, man. They ran Earthquake, and this is too close to Psychic Fangs. We're just going to eat this up here and let Empoleon with a couple of shields look to sweep in this game. I don't know what they're going to have in the back necessarily, but I know that my Empoleon is going to have a better time against the Mandibuzz with 2 shields. And the opponent lets the Steelix go to a Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade does incredible damage on this thing, by the way, even neutral. And the opponent comes in with the Mandibuzz. I'm throwing 1 Psycho Cut because I knew they were 1 away from an Aerial Ace, and I'm going to go ahead and try and catch, and we successfully catch on the catch the Aerial Ace, and now I'm going to shield up here because this could be a Dark Pulse for all I know. It doesn't feel like it, but it was a foul play, so I'm glad that I shielded that because that would have been difficult. Now we're going to go for Hydro Cannons and try and see if we can't get shields off the Mandibuzz or get them to show me what is in the back. I want to keep my Empoleon healthy just in case whatever's in the back is, you know, going to be something that I need to struggle with using Empoleon. So I'm going to go ahead and shield up the next foul play, and the opponent brings in Stinky Binky, and this is already a lock. This game is over. Fortunately for us, Stinky Binky is not going to be able to withstand the Steel Wings +2 of these Hydro Cannons, and that's going to be a good game. The opponent knows it, and they concede, and that's going to be that for this video. This team was so much fun to run. Like I said, this is not a climbing team by any means, but I had some really incredibly fun battles, and I wanted to showcase them in a video. I also went and sent these battles out to some other creators as well, because these were the kind of games it's like, you know, it's just fun, and the battles were absolutely insane. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know that this isn't like necessarily an elo climbing team, although it was a hell of a lot of fun. If you can find, like, if you wanted to, for example, use Annihilate over Gallade, then now suddenly it's a climbing team. So you know, or just something in general that has good play against Gligar as well, because obviously Thunderfang Steelix, you want to be careful with that. Or you could just run Dragon Tail Steelix. You could do that too. Anyway, guys, it was a good team. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.